It's May 2011 at U.S. Bank in Lisle. She is a sales coach for the West District. He shows up to meet with Zach, a loan officer. She is there first, working, and before he gets to the branch, Zach tells him by phone, "The new sales coach is here. You might want to swing by and meet her." When he arrives, he introduces himself to her. She briefly greets him and goes back to her task. His first impression? Wow, she's really attractive. Her first impression? She doesn't remember. As per usual. They don't talk anymore that day. 2 months later, they both are at a branch here in Naperville, and he arrives first. She sees him. The branch manager says, "I want to introduce you to the sales manager for mortgage. This is Mike Lynch." Alison says to Mike, "Oh, nice to meet you." She does not remember having met him before. He says, "Again." She just smiles and walks away. It was a hectic 2 months of work for her. That was it for that day. 3 months later, she becomes the branch manager of the Market Meadows branch here in Naperville. The first day she is there, she has an upset mortgage customer. She calls Inga to ask who the sales manager for mortgage is. "Mike Lynch," she says. "Do you think you could call him to take care of this? I don't know who he is." "Sure you do," Inga says. "You've met him." She talks to Mike on the phone, but does not remember having talked to him before. The next day, he comes into the branch and does so every few weeks to coach the mortgage loan officer. He comes in so often, she finally remembers who he is. These two interact a lot. Now she is impressed with him. He's a nice guy and smart. She thinks, A couple of weeks later, at a meeting, she has to stand up to write on a board on behalf of the speaker. Mike comes in late. He stares at her. She stares at him, between having to write things. They connect with their own language, and she thinks he's a good soul. Mike is the next to speak and then leaves. She follows Mike out for a few minutes before returning to the meeting. She makes up an excuse to talk to him. "You've done a lot to help me at the branch. You've worked well with the loan officer." And she also felt guilt for not remembering him. "Let's go to lunch." He thinks she is doing so for business purposes. She likes him and was going to pay for it herself. He agrees, for it's a business lunch, but it was a lunch he was looking forward to. Lunch is at House of Emperor, right across from the branch. It goes very well. They make excuses to go out with coworkers so she can invite Mike. He thinks it may be about him. She arrives and soon after leaves. Oh, it must be about work, he thinks. It takes him a few times to figure out it is about him. It becomes their dates with chaperones from work. The first time they go out, just the two of them, is to Biaghi's, an Italian restaurant in Naperville. She calls Gia and says, "I'm finally going out with him by myself." Gia says, "I'm glad you're becoming a big girl." "Yeah, I really like him. I'm a little nervous. He's a good guy with a good soul." He's really nervous too, but excited. Once they sit down and start talking, it was perfect. They laugh at the same crazy stuff. They talk for hours. Their first kiss is in the parking lot at the restaurant, as he opens her car door in the rain. "It's raining," she says. He knew she was happy about the kiss, and they've been dating ever since. Together, they enjoy traveling and watching movies, spending time with the kids, going out to dinner, and enjoying a vodka and soda with lemon. How did Mike propose to Alison? They had not looked at rings together. They had been talking about marriage. January 2013, he picks up the ring on a Saturday, but it is set crooked. He makes them fix it. It's ready on Tuesday. He sneaks out of the house. She thinks he is going to work. She is not suspicious. He gets the ring and he arrives at home. She is in the garage taking the garbage out with the garage door up. He gets the ring. He arrives He thinks this is perfect. He gets out of the car in the rain. She's in the garage, not in the rain. He walks towards her. She is at the edge of the garage, and he starts talking to her, still in the rain. He shares how much she means to him. He knew on their first date when they kissed in the rain that he wants to do this. He gets down on one knee and opens the ring box. Now she knows. Alison, will you marry me? She's in tears. She says what he was longing to hear. "Ah, Mike." Then she says, "It's raining," and repeats it. "Let's go in." Mike says, "Are you going to say yes?" "Of course," she says. Mike puts the ring on her finger. The girls are so excited. "Mike is going to be our dad." They celebrate with wine. She texts a photo of her ring to Gia and to Inga, but she hides her nails, for they were not done that day.